Hello folks, Reloading Bench back with you once again, and as you can see we have an interesting device that should look very familiar to you, but it is not mine. Well, it is mine now. I saw this on Facebook Marketplace. Ooh, it's been a while, probably a month, maybe 5-6 weeks ago, and the price, if you know what these cost today, was pretty close to MSRP. And I'm like, yeah, nobody's going to pay that. When you look closely at it, it's rusty. It's got some rust issues. It's got some homemade instructions, and it's missing parts. It's missing the shell holders. In fact, I made a video about mine a couple years ago with all the parts. I think about 2 years ago. You know, the shell holder, the pilots. So there's a bag of pilots. There's a bag of 4 shell holders, and I'll show the pictures, and then your cleaning brushes and your chamfer and deburr and pocket cleaners and all that stuff for your 6 turning, which are rusted as well. And but what attracted me to this was, well, 2 things. One, wow, I wish I would have seen this. When I was looking a few years ago, you couldn't find them. This is also a 4-digit serial number. Why? And I think mine is 5 or 6, so this is much older than mine. It looks identical. I mean, I can't see any initial differences. And then I started to look closer, and I think the biggest difference, and I'll bring mine out as well, is going to be, ooh, that needs some oiling. So you'll see, yeah, that is not smooth. So, oh yeah, that's why, because that's rusty. So this will get a cleaning. We'll take this off. We'll take that out. It'll go into probably either evapor rust or the wire wheel. Again, so much. It's not in bad condition. It's just not in well cared for condition. So it's not abused, it just wasn't well cared for. A little bit of rust. So I'm going to say this is somebody who years ago got into reloading and then didn't, or is now kind of out of it. So I'll take this apart. It's got the cutter and it's got 1 pilot, and I'll reach out to Hornady and see what my options are about purchasing all the other accessories, because I think this might be a cool thing to give to my son, even though he doesn't really get into reloading. Maybe that's a future thing for him and his hobby if it ever develops, or I just resell it, refurb it and resell it, make it look new. But I thought it was interesting because of the age and the price. So his original price, 6 weeks ago, was close to MSRP. So if you know what these cost. Then he dropped it to less, made it a little more interesting. Then a few weeks ago, he dropped it almost in half of what he was asking initially. And I even thought to myself, wow, I should offer him. And then I threw my number together. And then I thought, yeah, he wouldn't take that. Again, assuming it was a he, which it actually was. You don't meet too many female reloaders. And now that I've said that, I'll probably piss somebody off who's a female reloader. But in any case, when it was lowered to half of what his original price was, I thought to myself, well, let me offer him, I'll just come out and say it, a low ball. And then I thought, no, that's just too low. So I just ignored it. And then the other night, and this guy's local, he's like 10 minutes away. Then I saw it, and he lowered it in half again. And now it was too good to pass up. It was... even for parts, spare parts, if mine ever went, the motor, other parts, and we've seen my issue with my fuse blew, and it's a specific size fuse that you can't just run down to the automotive store and pick up. So I pinged him and I'm like, hey, I can pick this up tonight. He's like, okay. Went and picked it up, paid for it, picked it up, and yes, it does work. Let me plug it in so you can hear it, see it. not set up for, looks like it's set up for pistol. And I can't remember if the upper or lower was for pistol. Upper lower meaning this setting. Because on mine, I think I have it set up for the upper. So speaking of mine, let's pull my version out. Whoops. And I have, you know, my thingy things sticking there. All right, so here is mine. And my number is 245. Mine is almost 17,000. This is almost 4,000. So this is older. From a paint perspective, I think everything, you know, mine is starting to show a little surface rust here. Again, here's what I was talking about with the screw versus, okay, yeah, we're in frame. Screw. Everything looks kind of, you know, identicals. You know, Hornady hasn't made much change. If anything, you know, nothing on the back. This particular case prep part number label isn't on this one, but everything else looks identicals. And then we get to the front, and that's where I'm going to say the biggest difference is, and it's very nominal. I actually like what he did here, because if you don't use this on a regular basis, you kind of forget which way's up, which way's down, and then you remember after you turn it a couple of times. So I'm going to get rid of this. Hopefully that will clean up with rubbing alcohol, and then I'll put up down labels on both. And I can tell right now this is mine is a little smoother, and of course I don't have the rust, or as much rust on the screw, and I don't have as much. I'm starting to see a little bit of surface, so I'll take this out. Again, this is my dedicated to my RCBS 3-way cutter, whereas this is like the original Hornady cutter. And the fact that I can't even yeah, this is how he had this set up. I'm not going to say. I don't know. I do not know. But it looks like, you know, he's got missing pieces. The shell holder, I've got a shell holder here for 223. This has no shell holder. So, you know, that's a bit of a bummer. And now that I've taken that out and the camera's in the way, I'm not going to try and put that in. So I will start to take this apart. I did a video years ago on taking this one apart. So it's essentially the same thing, you know, unscrewing this, taking this out, taking that out. The biggest difference that I can see, or that I have found, is if you look right here, again, this is an original. And then if you look here, Hornady has done some milling, and given my mill, I'm wondering if I should try and mill that out right there. I don't know. I do not know. My milling skills are novice, pre-novice at best, so I don't want to F it up. And maybe it's worth just leaving as is. So don't know what to say, but you know, maybe I will, maybe I won't. And I don't even know if my mill has the clearance when you add a cutter to be able to set this in. So don't know. Do not know. But I'll give that some thought. So I'll take it apart. I'll clean it up. I'll show it to you when all the pieces, you know, when there's less rust, and setup for me to use a little bit better, or closer to what I do. And you know, I don't need two of these. I really don't. But this is my OCD kicking in that, hey, this is a 4-digit older version of mine. And again, when you consider the price, now if Hornady, when I call Hornady and I say, hey, I need to buy the pilot bag of, I need to buy the bag of pilots, I need to buy the bag of shell inserts. I need to buy all the accessories. My deal might not look like a deal anymore. So we'll see what they say. But cool. It was a cool find. Cool local find. Later. More to come. All right, Murphy's Laws. I started taking things apart and actually started on this end cleaning the rust, which on this end was heavy, this end light. But as I was on the wire wheel, I'm like, oh, I should probably show all the fucking janky parts and rusty and rusty. Okay, always something on the floor. What would it be if the garage things didn't fall on the floor of the garage? Rusty, aluminum, no rust, cutter. You know, some of the pieces aren't bad. I mean, I started to take this off because these are all rusty, but this is all keyed. Actually, it'll be the wrong one that I use. This is all keyed to one. All the gears, I didn't remember this. So I was kind of hoping when I pulled this off, these would stay, but no, they're all geared to this key that has to be set. So I don't know that I'm going to take these out. I'll probably just use that to clean, you know, with some oil and steel wool to make that look a little better. But yeah, Murphy's Law. I mean, it's motherfucker. Getting old, dropping shit. You know, not difficult to take apart. A little bit of time. Got rid of most of the ink and then labeled the up as clockwise. And more cleaning later. And back. So I started to do some cleaning and then I just kept going. So this is done. One casualty. As I showed inside here, these gears, these actually do pop out with the gears, unfortunately. And I'll have to look at the original video, the first video, to see if that was even spinning, because this gear was already broken. And I don't believe I did that, but maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Everything's been cleaned. There's no rust on this unit. There's more rust on my unit than there is on the older, the less than 400 serial number. So, you know, when you look at it and you see obviously better directions, much shinier. Everything's been polished, excuse me, clean, polished, derusted. Works. I think mine feels a little better. This just needs to get worked, and there's grease in there as well. I don't know why that's so noisy. Mine feels beautiful. Oh, I love mine. Maybe this is Gen 1 and this is Gen much later. This even looks bigger now, maybe same size, but adjusted this so that you know, the stop is correct, or it's more correct in terms of when a shell holder's in there. These cleaned, everything cleaned, back clean, polish. In fact, I think this one looks nicer than mine in terms of you know, the polish and the attention to cleaning, which mine hasn't had ever. But mine feels, that is just smooth and flawless. This one, doesn't matter how I adjust this, I'm still getting, I'm guessing this was never broke in, to be honest. So maybe it just needs, you know, the old, already feels a little better. Yeah, maybe it just needs, maybe it just needed that work in, like a 1911, the slide on the 1911. Yeah, that feels better already. Like I said, I do have oil in here. Yeah, that feels great. I couldn't let that hole go. The OCD in me would drive me crazy. So I'll reach out to Hornady to see if they replace just the plastic gear or the whole little piece. I'm also going to talk to them about buying all of the missing parts that I talked about earlier, the bag of 4 shell holders, the bag of pilots, and then the bag of accessories like the all of the brushes and chamfer and deburr. I don't think even when I used this I ever had more than 2, just the chamfer and the deburr. So even if this stays like this and doesn't, that turns, that turns, that turns, that turns. So I have 5 options minus this one because of the gear situation. But I'll see what Hornady says. And this is brand new again. So you would not know that this was in the condition it was a few hours ago. So much older, a little bit different branding. Again, I'm going to call this Gen 1. And for the price that it was, that's a steal, depending on how much all the accessories from Hornady cost. So that's a wrap. Later.